Journal Article Review. Article 1. Essential Linguistics, What You Need to Know to Teach Reading, ESL, Spelling, Phonics, and Grammar by David E. Freeman and Yvonne S. Freeman. Article 2. Teaching English Learners to Read, Learning or Acquisition by David E. Freeman and Yvonne S. Freeman. By Alexa Gedinsky and Bridget Matthews.
About the authors: Dr. David E. Freeman and Dr. Yvonne S. Freeman, Professors Emirati at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. Both want to find effective ways to educate emergent bilinguals. Work with educators both nationally and internationally to improve education for bilingual students. They have presented at universities all over the world. Both together and separately, they have written many articles and books that have been published worldwide as well. Why study linguistics? Language is what makes us distinctly human and distinguishes us from other living creatures. Many teachers study linguistics because they will learn more about the language and how it works. Therefore, they will be able to help their students learn more effectively. Also, if they show an interest, it can spark a similar interest within their students. According to Freeman and Freeman, as Holliday writes, a child doesn't need to know any linguistics to use language to learn, but a teacher needs to know some linguistics if he wants to understand how the process takes place or what is going wrong when it doesn't. Three aspects of language development. The first aspect is learn language. A teacher is responsible to help all students develop their language abilities despite their age. According to Freeman and Freeman, teaching any subject involves teaching the language, the vocabulary, and the organizational structures common to that content area. The second aspect is learn through language. Humans learn through oral language and written language both inside and outside of the classroom. Classrooms are full of talk, both from teachers and students, and words, such as books, lists, student papers, and words on computer monitors. The third aspect is learn about language. Students can learn many things about their language specifically or language in general. According to Freeman and Freeman, this approach to language study is most common in classes where the teacher has studied linguistics. Such a teacher has his students engage in linguistic investigations following the same approach that linguists use. How do linguists study language? Since linguistics is the scientific study of language, linguists study it the same way other scientists study their fields. First, they start out with a question, then they form a hypothesis, and then they collect data to test that hypothesis. Linguists' goal is to describe the new language. These are the steps linguists take to achieve that goal. Step 1. Divide up the stream into units. Step 2. Figure out the differences among the units. Step 3. Decide how the units can be grouped together. And the final step is to find dependencies, which are agreements between subjects and verbs. How do schools teach students about language? In schools, language is not taught through a scientific approach. Historically, grammar teachers normally prescribe, not describe language. Students are taught the rules to follow. In the future, linguists want teachers to teach language in a descriptive way because prescriptive ways do not work. An example of a descriptive approach to teaching language can include language investigations. Pages 14 to 15 of this article show an example of a language investigation.
There are two views of second language development. One of them is learning, and the other is acquisition. Learning is conscious, occurs in formal situations, results from direct teaching, involves learning rules, and can be tested. Acquisition is subconscious, occurs in informal situations, results from trying to communicate, involves learning to use language for real purposes, and can be used. There are two views of reading. One is the world recognition view. The other is a socio-psycholinguistic view. World recognition view. The goal is to identify words to get to meaning of text. Learn vocabulary through pre-teaching activities. Learn to break words into parts to identify them. Build a bank of sight words and use phonics rules to sand out words to identify them. Activity. Read orally so the teacher can help students learn to identify words and can supply words students do not know. Socio-psycholinguistic view. The goal is to use background knowledge and cues from 3 systems to construct meaning from text. Acquire vocabulary by encountering words in context. Study word parts only during linguistic investigations. Use graphophonics as just one of 3 cueing systems. Activity. Read silently using the strategies the teacher has helped students internalize to construct meaning from a text. There are 2 views of reading proficiency: the world recognition proficiency and socio-psycholinguistic proficiency. World recognition proficiency, defined as accuracy and fluency. It is achieved by sounding out and recognizing sight words. Attitude toward errors: all errors are equally bad. Response to errors: give correct form and provide extra practice. Socio-psycholinguistic proficiency is defined as effectiveness and efficiency. It is achieved by balanced, minimal use of 3 cueing systems. Attitude toward errors: errors differ in importance. Response to errors: improve readers' use of cueing systems. Help readers keep focus on comprehension.
Critical thinking questions. Number 1. Do you think ELL students learn or acquire language? Be sure to justify your answer. Number 2. In your classrooms, as both a student and/or teacher, have you seen more prescriptive or descriptive approaches to teaching language? Which do you think is more effective and why? Be sure to justify your answer. Number 3. Why is it important for teachers to study linguistics? Cite evidence from the text.